So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at how I go about purchasing the products. Where do I get the parts? Coast Airbrush is where I always go, and let's see how they did, customer service and everything wise. So what happened was I had this airbrush since 2007, so I know when something's wrong, if it's something that can be fixed, like a little bit of paint in the nozzle or something like that. But in this case, it happened once before, I believe in 2014, where I just had to go ahead and get a new head assembly. And that's where we are today. It was shooting off to the side. I did everything, checked paint, checked the nozzle. Basically the nozzle was broken. Also, it looks like there was a problem with the Mac valve. Paint got in there and dried it up, so I went ahead and bought a new internal Mac valve and a new needle. Let the healing begin. So just a few minutes ago, the box arrived from Coast Airbrush as originally promised, so that is one good check for you guys. Everything did arrive. All the products that I ordered. We have the head assembly, of course. That was the main thing. And then we have these little O-rings for the Mac valve, the internal Mac valve. And of course, the Mac valve itself. And the .23 needle. This is important, .23 needle and head assembly. So let's go ahead and take apart the sick airbrush, or the airbrush is not feeling well. And of course, just go ahead and remove all the parts, put them aside. Do not get them confused with the new parts. That would be bad, and that's something that I would probably do if I wasn't careful. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and remove the head assembly, and that just comes off with a wrench, or little pliers I should say. And also I went ahead and removed the internal Mac valve. It's a very small piece. Okay, the first thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and replace the internal Mac valve. I did find I did not need those O-rings, but they're good to keep in case they do go bad. It's always good to have a paper towel or something on a level table so things don't roll off and disappear in the floor. And the internal Mac valve was very simple to put on. It was basically 1, 2, 3. And I tightened that easily with those same pliers. Not tightening it pretty hard, but you don't want to, really go crazy. Just make sure it's airtight. That's important. Now I'm removing the .23 head assembly, and I'm putting that back on. And that's pretty simple. It's very smooth. The custom Microns have a very smooth head assembly. The threads are perfect. So I could put in the brand new .23 needle. What's the point of changing the head assembly and putting an old needle in there? So that's why I always get a brand new needle when I change the head assembly on my custom Micron. And you removed a little protection on the tip there. And now we're just going to go ahead and reassemble the airbrush. I definitely feel that you have to know your airbrush well enough to take it apart and put it back together. Knowing how the parts work, just as if you own a car, will help you to detect what's wrong, whether it's fixing being able to be fixed by mere maintenance or having to replace parts. So I'm almost finished reassembling the custom Micron. All I have to do after this, do some testing.
It's like a dance, the way that you shake your head in full denial of the truth. Didn't get a chance to say it loud. Your secrets kept you pushing down, disavow. When he was knocking on your door, nobody got in. Now when you're screaming for a hand, nobody's listening. Oh, this is far from the end.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and check out how the repairs have worked and some real world testing, not only dagger strokes and dots. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look. I have to say right out of the gate, I am very happy with how the airbrush is performing, just as it did the day I bought it. I'm going into tight details on this very small portrait that I'm currently doing the underpainting for, and I'm able to get fine lines, beautiful control, and wonderful atomization. I don't think anyone could ask more from an airbrush.
This is far from the end. You gotta be back for more.
Also, the internal MAC valve, those problems have been resolved. It is very exact with the amount of pressure coming out of the airbrush and is very smooth. Employing different techniques such as using freehand shields to really test this airbrush to make sure that all the problems have been resolved. And it looks like they have been.
This is far from the end. You're gonna be back for more.
Here is the final test. Let's see if this custom Micron, newly repaired, can work with as much control as a pencil. And I have to say, I am really happy with this test. That you shake your head in full denial of the truth. Didn't get a chance to say it loud. Your secrets kept you pushing down, disavow. When he was knocking on your door, nobody got in. Now when you're screaming for a hand, nobody's listening. This is far from the end. You're gonna be back for more. This is far from the end. You're gonna be back for more. All this silence
to push you to the bitter end. And it's a repeat.
So as you can see, we don't always have to buy a new airbrush. We, like anything else, we want to troubleshoot it, make sure there's no little issues. But when there are big issues, as with this particular airbrush, we can go ahead with the help of Coast Airbrush and their wonderful customer service team. Just want to give a quick shout out to Jennifer over at Coast Airbrush. She was so helpful and she just made it so easy. While I did place an order online for the head assembly and the needle, I realized, oh my goodness, after I placed the order, that I would really be good to get the internal Mac valve. She was able to go ahead and add that onto the order. She was very super helpful, and that made all the difference. Like I said, the Custom Micron CM-C Plus is my all-time favorite airbrush. There's going to be a link in the description field where you can purchase this particular airbrush. And I get a little tiny commission if you purchase it. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining me in my studio today. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and thank you so much. Take care.